welcome back to The Movies Made Us Do It. Me and Matt are back. How are you, Matt?
I'm pretty good, sir. How are you?
I'm well, yes. I've seen some stuff. Some of it very good.
Good
Do
stuff.
you want to kick us off, though?
Sure. I will start with, let's go with My Old Ass.
My old ass. I didn't know anything about this one. This was a new one to me.
Yeah, so it hasn't been out for a while, but I saw I'd seen the trailer when it first came out, and I thought I might give that a go at some point, and I thought,
Yeah, I think I saw the trailer. It looked charming enough.
why not? So it's got Aubrey Plaza in it, who I like, and it's a coming of age movie, which I like quite a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
So we are introduced to Elliot, played by Maisie Stella, who incidentally I kept looking at her thinking, I'm sure I've seen you before. You're very familiar.
Do you know why I was thinking that? Where was it from?
She's quite young, and I'm thinking, whatever it was a while ago, and I'm thinking, oh, so she was the youngest daughter in Nashville.
Oh, okay.
She was the youngest daughter of Connie Britton's character. And it's like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense, right? So we're introduced to Elliot, and she, her and her family own not her, but her family own a, what was I'm going to forget the fruit now. It's cranberries. Cranberries. They own a cranberry farm, and she is she's just turned 18, and she is about to leave for college. And she's gonna have a blowout with her friends. She's gonna eat some mushrooms, and get high and enjoy the last few weeks she has while she's at home.
Sure.
And she doesn't have the best relationship with her family. She sort of she just ignores them, and she just does her own thing. And there's a girl that she fancies at the who works at the sort of local coffee shop.
Yeah.
And she's kind of doing she's like, oh, I'm going to get with her before I leave, and all that sort of stuff. So she takes these mushrooms, and while she's having her trip, Aubrey Plaza turns up as her 39-year-old self.
Okay.
And they proceed to have conversations about life.
See, this is a really lovely idea. I like this.
Yeah. And this jokes about, she keeps calling her 40, and it's like, I'm 39.
I am 40 now. I'm past that.
Oh, dude, I'm nearly 50, so
Yeah. It's fine once you get there. It's fine.
Yeah. So she's asking her question. Obviously, she's freaked out at first, and she shows her things like scars that she got when she was 8 and all that sort of stuff. And then she shows her a missing toe, and she says, I don't have a missing toe. It's like, oh, you haven't lost that yet. Okay. So we pretty much established she is definitely her older self. And they have, they talk about life, and she tells her to, talk to your family, talk to your brothers, talk to your mum and dad.
Yeah.
Don't be such a bitch, basically. He says to her, just like, don't be such a brat,
Yeah.
You're gonna, mess up things and all that sort of stuff. And she basically, and then she says, is there anything that you would change? And she says, yeah, if you ever see anybody called Chad, run away. Do not have anything to do with Chad. And she's like, why? It's like, just trust me, all right? Have nothing to do with Chad. So she wakes up the next day, and she's, her older self is gone, and basically, Chad turns up. Obviously, Chad turns up as a summer worker at the farm, and he is weird and charming, and just seems a genuinely lovely dude. That he runs into her while she's swimming naked, and it's like, I didn't know you were naked, honestly. It's like, don't look going down. Because hang on, I'll go down to the water. And it's like, no, because I'm naked. It's like I can't see anything. It's really, really dark down there. It's a sort of charming little meeting, and basically she her phone goes off, and she finds that she can talk to her older self. Her older self put her phone number in her phone, so she has this communication thing that she can talk to. So while things are happening, along the way, she finds out things about her life and and her family, and she goes to play golf with her brother and all that, all this sort of stuff. And she, as far as she's concerned, she's never had any interest in the farm, because her younger, even though he's a younger brother, she just presumed he's going to take over and all that sort of stuff. And slight spoiler, you discover that her actual family are going to sell the farm, and no one told her. Everybody pretty much knows, like even her friends know, but she doesn't, because she just didn't pay any attention. And she says to her dad, "Why haven't you told me?" And her dad's like, "It's hard to pin you down. You never seem interested, and you don't really talk to us." So there's all these sort of like really cool sort of, trying to get back with the family and trying to sort of, just be a kind of a better person, really, being, but while enjoying being a teenager.
Sure.
So it's not just about, oh, don't be an asshole. It's actually, sure, you just be an asshole, but
you're a teenager. You're going to be an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
it's unavoidable, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but just be a little bit more aware and a little more.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I really enjoyed it. Maisie Stella is a really charming, and is this as the stroppy teen who has this sort of a weird sort of awakening on multiple levels of like she, again, slight spoilers, Chad is so wonderful that she falls in love with him, and which kind of shocks her, because it's like, I'm into girls. Why why am I? It's like, turns out you like both.
Yes, turns out you're a teenager, and you're just discovering all this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Aubrey Plaza is only in really 2 scenes. She's in 2 scenes, and she's on the phone a couple of times, so she's not a big part of it, really. She's kind of she's the MacGuffin, really. If you like.
Yeah.
And the scenes that she's in are brilliant. There is one truly horrific scene for me. Mileage may vary. She has it's not really a spoiler. She has another trip at one point, trying to get hold of her older self, and she has a Justin Bieber moment where when she was younger, she didn't want to be the girl that Justin Bieber was singing to. She wanted to be Justin Bieber. So there's a whole scene where she sings a Justin Bieber song.
Right.
And it was horrific. I mean, fair play to her.
But isn't that the intention, that it's horrific?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like, she sings it great because she's a really good singer. And it's funny, but it's a Justin Bieber song, and it's hideous.
Sure.
So it's awful but brilliant at the same time. The rest of the cast, mostly it's like small roles. So it's like the kid playing Chad, Percy Haynes White, who was in Wednesday, the Wednesday series.
Oh yeah,
he was in that. He's really good, and he is really charming as Chad. And I'm not going to spoil, why she should not see Chad. But there's some just really genuinely lovely moments where you just when you think she's being too much of a bitch or too much of a something, she sort of pulls it back, and she brings you in, and you're like, oh, she thank God she's not as horrible as she could be. And it's just a lovely coming of age movie that I think it's one. I mean, I'm all of the coming of age movies I love are usually from the 80s or 90s, because I'm old. and I occasionally watch the newer ones, and some of them hit, some of them don't. But I think this is really good. I think this one does a really good job of showing teens now as and not as horrible as sometimes I think they're portrayed in some movies. There is this idea that all teens now are feckless and useless, and
I think that's happened with every generation.
Well, it certainly happened in the 80s.
Yeah,
but the 80s was a bit different. We were all kind of ignored by our parents in some way or another.
Yeah.
But it's different times. I really liked it. It's really funny. It's really sweet, and Maisie Stella is really charming and funny, and it's just a good solid coming of age movie. I liked it a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really, really good. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Well, I'm going to tell you about a film that I loved.
Okay.
That a lot of people don't seem to love, but that I think legally don't even know how you'll get hold of it. I got given a copy, and actually, I'm confused. So the film I'm talking about is Chime from 2024. Chime. Yes, by a director, Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who did Pulse and other horror movies.
Okay.
This is a fucking NFT movie. So as I understand it, how it was set up in Japan, it was sold as an NFT, and then people who owned it could allow other people to rent it at a price that they chose because they then owned the movie. So I don't know, because I was given a copy. I don't know if it was actually legal that I was given a copy, because if someone on the internet decided to just give it away for free and they owned it, I don't know how it works. But anyway, I was given a copy. So Chime from 2024. Bizarre choice of distribution. Don't know why they did it. That aside, all of that nonsense aside, since I was given a copy, there's clearly copies out there, so give it a go if you want to find it. I loved this movie. This movie is effectively the basic plot is that a school teacher who specializes in cooking, he teaches people how to cook, and he's clearly a very skilled chef. Teaches students. He basically has a troubled student in his class, although there are troubled people everywhere in this film, who he's very odd. He's clearly very odd from the moment he's in the classroom. There's like scenes where he's cutting onions, and he's just obsessed with cutting the onion, and he just keeps cutting it and cutting it and cutting it, and the teacher's like, you're cutting them too fine, stop, and he just won't stop. He's like obsessed with it. So this continues on for a little while. Then one time he comes into class and he says to the teacher that he's had an operation. He's had an operation on his neck, and that after the operation, all of the scars have disappeared. They had the operation, then the scars disappeared. But what the operation was that they replaced part of his brain with a machine. He's now part machine. And to prove his point, he opens up his neck to show the teacher. And
this sounds very Japanese.
It's very Japanese. No machine parts come out, though. He just bleeds out and dies on the floor. But prior to this, he said he was hearing a chime, and he keeps saying, I heard this chime. Have you heard this? Can you hear the chime? And the teacher's like, no. And there's a train that goes by this place periodically. And he's like, maybe it's the train you're hearing. He's like, no, it's not the train. Like, there's this chime. It keeps calling to me, this chime. And anyway, the movie goes from there. This film is hard to explain. It's full of imagery. It's full of weird Japanese shit. I think there's some religious connotations. It's kind of it's almost like this virus kind of thing going on. There's a lot of like weird people being weird, but even like the mundanity of like home life is weird. Like there's just like scenes where his wife is, every time you see her, she's taking out bags of empty cans, like bags and bags of them, like every day, to where you're like, no one could have drunk this much. Like, where is this all coming from? There's so many weird little things that I'm sure if you studied the movie, there would be, there's so many depths to this movie, I imagine. But this movie, much like Pulse, has this fantastic. I mean, I think that Kurosawa is so, he's so good at making mundane scenes unsettling.
Yeah,
which is another Japanese thing, actually.
I was going to say that is a very Japanese thing.
He's one of the best of that group, I find, because I thought Pulse was superb. There's a few scenes in Pulse that are really unsettling. And he does that here, where, even when there's like not much going on, just the atmosphere, the mood, the way the film is shot, the soundtrack, just everything about it is just really unsettling. And it's just a really bizarre, unsettling kind of mystery movie that ultimately becomes something of a puzzle and a riddle, but you can certainly take a lot away from it in either directions. I highly recommend it. I think you would love it. It's a Matt film.
I was going to say it sounds like my bag, baby.
It's very much a Matt film. I just don't know why they distributed it this way. It's very short, by the way. This film's about 45 minutes long.
I was just going to say, it looks like it's 45 minutes.
Something like that. About 50. Short film, but wonderful. I loved it. I can see lots of people didn't. I was looking at reviews earlier on, and there's quite a lot of ones that are like, this is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, it's just not for you. Yeah. If you wanted, slasher horror movie, this is not your movie. This is a very different kind of horror, and
it's one of the things that surprises me the most about the horror audiences these days are very rigid in their thinking about what a horror movie is.
Yeah, it is strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
because to be honest, I mean, I love horror, as you know, lifelong horror fan.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of times I'll watch a thriller and be like, I think this is a horror movie. Like, there's horror elements. I've long argued that The Terminator is a horror movie, the first one.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But people will argue no. They're like, no, it's just a bloody action film. I'm like, no. It's clearly a horror movie. It's
horrible, bleak, and it's got basically a monster, an unstoppable monster.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a weird thing, that rigidity within the horror community, to be like, this is horror, this is not. And I know it's all subjective. It's a lot like comedy, which will bring me on to another film later on. But it's interesting. Yeah, it is interesting. But I loved this movie. This movie was fantastic. I think it's the perfect length. And I have been thinking about this a lot with streaming. Like, films don't have to be 2 hours long anymore. They can be 4 hours long. Or they can be 45 minutes long. They can be as long as they need to be, and I feel like this movie was as long as it needed to be, and that's fine,
Yeah. Yeah, there does seem, like, especially with streaming movies, there does seem to be a sort of, we have to make it at least 2 hours long.
Yeah, and it's like, no, it's the opposite now. You used to have to do that. You were getting people in the cinema and selling DVDs and stuff and Blu-rays. Nowadays, like, make it as long as you want. It doesn't have to be long, or it could be really long.
I mean, I was going to say, to be honest, it's the same for people who go, "Oh, the movies are too long. It's 3-hour movies." Like, but if it's a 3-hour movie and it needs to be, the story needs to be 3 hours, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, dude, we've both always. I'm sure we've both had this conversation. I would watch. Yeah. I would watch the 8-hour cut of Dune if that was available.
Yep.
I'd watch it.
Me too.
100%, I'd watch it. Like, I don't care how long it is. You can put it in 2 parts. It's fine.
I just saw one of the headlines of one of the reviews of this, and it said, "Watching Gordon Ramsay is scarier."
Yeah, that one made me laugh. I saw that one.
That's a good.
That was funny. Yeah, it's not for everyone. Clearly, it's very divisive.
Japanese horror is a
it's a niche.
it's kind of its own thing anyway, and I think
it is. And I think over here it's a niche, isn't it? People either get it or they don't. In the same way with like British humor, that doesn't always translate everywhere else in the world. And I do think it's the same with Japanese horror. But I like ever since I saw Pulse and Ringu, I've loved Japanese horror. You know, and even like Uzumaki and shit. You know. All of this, all of that stuff. I love it. So, yeah, I love this movie, and I recommend anyone that could find the bloody thing to watch it. I wish they would have just if they put this on. I would happily buy this movie for not an NFT. I would buy it. I think it's great.
Honestly, I don't really understand NFTs. So...
Neither do I. Other than I understand that it's presumably made this film a complete ball ache for people to watch if they want to watch it, which is kind of a real shame because if it was shit, that would be fine, wouldn't it? But it's actually a really well made movie, in my opinion, and I'd love to, I'd love everyone to see it. I think it's, he's a fantastic director and is no different here. The shots are framed wonderfully. I think all the performances are really, really good. It's just a really, really solid, weird Japanese horror movie, and I highly recommend it.
Well, I will definitely watch that.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to hear what you think of it. So, what else have you watched, Matt?
So, I also watched 1923.
Oh, you're doing that? Okay. If you're doing that, then I'll do my TV after your TV. We'll group the TV together. 1923.
Yeah, so the second and final series of 1923.
Is it the final series? I didn't know that. I thought they were going to keep going.
Well, so it's the final series of 1923.
Yeah, so I know they have. Yeah,
they're planning on doing, I believe it's 1946? No, 1945, I think, maybe.
Okay.
It's the 40s. They're doing a 40s one, and they're supposedly doing a Rip and...
well, 1940s, they can still keep some of the characters around, right?
Yes, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But
I guess it depends how many they killed off at the end of this show. But yeah.
Yes. So I mean, there's no pulling punches in Taylor Sheridan's series. He does like to off people quite.
I like that in a series though. I think that's good.
Yeah, and I think thankfully it's not quite as. What was that series? So 1880.
Something. Yeah, something like that.
That one's still my favourite show of his so far. I think it just appeals to me more because it's cowboys and like Yellowstone is still fucking awesome. I love Yellowstone. But it's there was that series I did, was it American something? That was pure misery.
Oh God, what was that called? Was that like American Frontier or something like that?
Yeah, American... that one was
which I really was tempted to watch, and then you were describing it on the show, and I was like, this sounds like the most miserable fucking thing ever.
I kind of recommend it for because it's still a well-made series.
It just sounded like on the verge of being mean-spirited.
Yeah, it really is. It's
like for the sake of it, not for any particular message, just to be shitty.
And 1883 does do that, and so does this. There are times where you're like, okay, this is getting a little too much now, and something happy needs to happen, or something needs to bring it back a little.
Yeah. Well, presumably 1880 was like fucking Oregon Trail, right?
Exactly.
So yeah.
It's pretty much that. So, this picks up where season 1 finished, where the Dutton Ranch has been the debts have been bought out by Timothy Dalton's character Whitfield. So basically, he's got till the family have till I think it's like summer to pay the debt. Otherwise, Whitfield will own the whole ranch, the land, and everything, because that's what he's planning on doing. He wants to do that because I don't know whether you saw the first season, but
I didn't know.
Timothy Dalton's character is fucking vile.
Yeah, but that's what Timothy Dalton does best.
He's his character in it. he's this incredibly rich guy who sees opportunity in everything. Where
Sure.
where people will see, like, oh, I saw this. There's one bit where they're in this like early on in the season, they're driving along, and Jerome Flynn's character is kind of become his like lackey, and in this season, he's he's a farmer. He's a a Scottish sheep farmer that came up against the Duttons, and there was a big shootout in the first season between him and that. But he's now working properly for he's working properly for Dalton's character, but he's beginning to regret it because he sees what a fucking hideous man he is and how he doesn't really see people. He just sees how they can use people, and he's beginning to regret his decision. But there's this point where they're driving along and it's middle of winter at the moment, and he sees some I think they're Swedish guys skiing down the mountain, and he's like, stop the car, and he stops the car and he says, what are they doing? And Flynn's character says, oh, they just asked if they could ski. And he said, I don't understand why anybody would want to throw themselves down a mountain like that. It's weird. It's nothing. But Dalton's like, that I can fucking sell. I can do, so that that tells you all about his character. Is that he doesn't give a fuck about anything else, just what he can sell it for. And his whole plan is to basically gut this land and mine it all, and just be. He's going to turn it into basically a resort, which is a theme throughout Yellowstone as well. And he is just so fucking utterly evil. He has he's kind of got a sex slave. He has this. Well, there are two prostitutes in the first season that he's sadistic, and he beats them, and then but he turns one of them into a sort of mistress to the other one,
right? And
it's really quite grim, and she becomes twisted through his teachings and stuff, and he is utterly awful.
Irredeemably horrible.
Yeah. Oh no, he is completely irredeemable. So you've got the older Duttons, Jacob and Cara, or Ford and Mirren, who are waiting for the return of Spencer. So in the first season, Spencer, he is a First World War veteran, and he didn't go home. He just sort of wandered around a bit, and he ended up in Africa as a hunter. And he fell in love with this English heiress, Alexandra, and they sort of have these adventures. And he gets the note from his aunt saying, "You've got to come home. All shit's breaking loose." So from there, it becomes him trying to get back home. In the end of the first season, they're on a boat trying to get back, and they end up getting split apart. So she gets taken away by her family because they bump into her family on this boat, and he gets taken off by the authorities for kind of doing in a guy. He didn't really do him in, but he sort of did. So they get split apart, and so this season it's them trying to come together again and get back home, and it's Ford and Mirren trying to survive Timothy Dalton's character.
Sure.
Now, meanwhile, with all this, there is a subplot which is a Native American girl, Tiona, trying. So in the first season, she murders some nuns. She was in this Catholic school that is run for natives, and I think we all know that sort of what happens at those sorts of schools. Awful, terrible things, beatings and assaults and all that sort of stuff. So she gets her revenge and she flees. So the part of the story it goes back to are this priest and this sheriff trying to hunt her down while she's trying to escape with what remains of her family. So that's the sort of the overall story. Really is it's that sort of it's real. You get the boys' own adventure stuff, and you get the sort of the drama and the the sort of the soapy stuff all mixed in together in this great series.
Yeah.
I utterly adore this series. It's
where does it rank on the 3 shows?
Ooh,
because they've all been excellent, right? Like
they've all been good. Well, 1883 is my favourite.
Right. I guess it would. I guessed it would be because of the period, but yeah,
it's partially period, partially the actors and the story is just wonderful. I love Yellowstone. Yellowstone is much more of as I think has been said before. It's much more of a Dallas with gunfights and stuff. So it's much.
Sure.
It's more of a soap opera, and there are more seasons of it. And it's more of a soap opera. So it's you've got that, and this one, I think probably. Oh no, where would I put it? It's hard to tell because because Yellowstone is longer. There are some seasons that are better than others.
Yeah,
and it's hard to say. I guess if we're going for overall.
Yeah, just out of curiosity more than anything.
I guess if I'm going for overall, maybe this slightly better than Yellowstone.
Okay.
Only because I think it's shorter, and I think if they carried on, it probably has the potential to lose the cohesiveness, like Yellowstone does. Yellowstone, especially the later season, because of the nonsense with what happened with Costner and all that sort of stuff, it's a bit weird.
Yes. I imagine that was a difficult one to fix.
So it doesn't exactly lose its way, but I still think it's a fucking great show. But yeah, I think
they had an impossible job there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this is slightly better than Yellowstone, only because I think of the coherence of the story, and it's shorter, and it tells its story that's moved on, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what is good about this. I like it's just really good, solid, sort of. And there are, don't get me wrong, there are some times where it does get quite miserable, and you're like, are they going to survive this? I mean, obviously someone has to survive it because Yellowstone is.
Yes, someone of the family has to continue on in some way.
Survive. I mean, that's the thing is that's one of the sort of things that my wife said. It's like, well, we know at least one branch of the family survives, so everybody else theoretically.
Someone has to inherit all of this shit, otherwise it goes nowhere. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's a certain amount of sort of okay that, but you don't know the other people's fates, so it at least keeps you guessing. One of my favourite things about this show is Harrison Ford clearly gives a fuck.
Yes, you can tell. You can really tell.
Yep. Yeah, this is the first time in ages that I've seen Harrison Ford in something where he genuinely cares.
Yeah.
Because he's not doing anything, outrageous or anything. He's just playing a solid, gruff character that he's played many times before.
Yeah.
But he's clearly fucking enjoying what he's doing. He's present in it. You can see him like he likes who he's playing. He's enjoying what he's in, which is great. And his chemistry with Helen Mirren is wonderful. I mean, they played off each other before. Have you ever seen Mosquito Coast?
No.
Oh man, it's a really good Harrison Ford movie. That it's based on I think it's based on a true story about a family who basically pack up and move to South America to sort of, become self-sufficient sort of thing, and it's a really weird little movie that I really like, and Ford and Mirren are really great in it.
Mm.
I think it's late 80s, early 90s, if I remember rightly. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's a really good movie, and they've got great chemistry, and it continues in this show. They're really brilliant, and you've got this great sort of story of them trying to sort of wait out the winter and survive, and you've got the grandson's wife. I say it's grandson. It's their sort of their nephew's son's wife who's staying there, and she's a sort of like posh. Well, she's a sort of spoiled rich girl that isn't used to the sort of life, and she gets married in the first season, and in this season they're kind of there on the ranch, and it's the winter, and they're running out of food because of the story and all that sort of stuff, and there's a mountain lion on the porch at one point, and then there's a rabid wolf in the hen house, and she's just like not cut out for this life. She's like, I have to get out of this sort of fucking place. I've got to go back to Boston. I hate it here.
Sure, yeah.
And there's real sort of misery in it. Don't get me wrong, but it's done with enough to sort of not make it misery porn, thankfully.
Sure. Well, that's good.
Almost every fucking character in it is great. Julia Schulfer, who plays Alexandra, I think she's probably got one of the best storylines. So she's separated from her husband, and she's trying to get. She has never been to the ranch, but she's going to get there. She's determined to get there on her own. She gets. But in the beginning of the season, she's kind of trapped by her family in her home, and she persuades. Not really spoiling anything. She persuades one of her friends to get her some money and get her a ticket and to sneak out, and she manages that, and her journey has some utterly horrific stuff, and she is like a full-on posh aristocratic English lady who has to slum it and do things that she's never had to do before, and she some of the things that happen to her are just truly horrific, and you do get a little bit disparaging, especially. I mean, I'm certainly not going to spoil it, but towards the end, it's like, oh my fucking god, this is
right.
This is really, really fucking bad. You get to the point where some of the characters, you're like, I don't know how they're going to fucking survive this. This is,
Yeah.
But it's fucking awesome. I think if you like the Taylor Sheridan, his oeuvre, his writing, which is it's pretty boys' own stuff, really. He's a real sort of kind of throwback writer, if you like. He's a very manly writer, and if you love that sort of thing, I think you'll absolutely love this movie. There's shootouts. There are I won't spoil that. There are some scenes I will say I thought could have been handled better. Because I don't want to spoil anything towards the end. I'm not going to say too much. But overall, I was really happy with how it ended and what happened. There were a few times where I was slightly disappointed in the characters, in what befell them, let's say, but not enough to make it a deal breaker or be too upset about it. It's really solidly done. There are some, even for a just a some would say a throwaway series. It's beautifully shot. There are some just seriously great performances in it. It's almost worth seeing it just for Harrison Ford giving a shit again. I will say that the Native American storyline, even though it's going to be linked to characters that are in Yellowstone. It felt I think other people have felt it as well, but certainly to me, it felt very much like whenever you get to her scenes, it's like, oh, we're back here. It feels very much like it's too broken up. Because the thing is that they're not bad scenes, but I didn't really care.
Right.
And it's like I said, it's not because they're bad actors or anything, or the storyline was terrible. It's just it's so removed from the rest of what's going on that it's very hard to give a fuck. It just feels every time that storyline turns up, it's like, oh, you can't wait to get back. I know I've said it before. It's that Game of Thrones book thing.
Yeah.
Where you've got so many characters and you're reading all these characters.
Yeah. Inevitably. Yeah.
You get to sort of, it's like, oh, I can't wait for this character to come back. I can't wait for that character to come back. And it's a little bit of a chore when
it's not one of those characters. Yeah.
Not one of those characters. And as I said, it's certainly no fault of the actress or anybody that's in those scenes, because there are some genuinely good scenes. The guy who's the sheriff, Jamie McShane, he's another utterly irredeemable asshole who basically is just a sheriff that knows it, that basically thinks natives should be wiped out, and he's just an awful fucking human being, and he's great. The guy who plays the priest, Sebastian Roche, he's great. He's another one of those actors that plays really good assholes and evil people.
Yeah.
And he's good here. It's just I don't care. It's like, can we just get back to the proper storyline? Really, I think if they'd have integrated the storyline in better, it would have I would have cared more. But the problem is because of who that character is, what's going to happen in Yellowstone. Let's say, I'm not really spoiling anything, really. I think most people anybody who's watched Yellowstone kind of knows the relationship she has, who she is. But it's just really hard to give a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the only thing about the series that I think is not bad, but knocks it a little. Other than some of the fates of some of the characters, I think this was a great fucking show. It's just really, really good TV. It's TV that we just haven't had in abundance in recent years. It's really good, well crafted, great characters that you care for. I certainly did, and I think a lot of people certainly do as well. And it's sure, it's over the top sometimes. You've got Timothy Dalton's character is genuinely almost cartoonishly villainous, a cartoonist villain at times, but it fucking works. And Dalton is just clearly fucking having a ball being this utterly repellent guy. I adore this series. I completely recommend it, and I think anybody who loves Yellowstone in 1883 will definitely get something out of it. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
Just one TV.
I will endeavor to check it out. I will continue with some TV too, because I watched a TV show last week, and that TV show was Devil May Cry.
Ooh.
It's an anime.
I saw the trailer and went, nope.
Did you see the trailer, or did you see the opening titles?
Oh, I haven't seen...
The opening titles are even more offensive.
Oh, really?
Anyway, I like Devil May Cry. I've played some video games in my life.
Yep.
I played Devil May Cry 1 to 5.
Okay.
I think 4 or 5.
Which is the one where they completely redesign him and he has that fucking...
Haven't played that one, and I haven't played the later one either, because they've done one since then that looks like it's an apology for that one.
Yeah.
Haven't played that one either.
I haven't played that one either,
but from the PS2 to PS3, I played all of those.
Yeah.
And
the one where he pulls the wig off and makes the joke is like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah. I enjoy those games. They're over the top, they're silly, they're edgelordy, they're fun.
Oh, he's like the epitome of edgelord.
Yes, he is.
Great.
but I guess the good thing about it is that it is very knowingly quite silly and over the top, and it's not the worst kind of edgelord is when they take it super serious as well. Then you're like, ugh. At least they're having some fun with it in the game. So I was looking forward to this show. I was like, you know what? Adi Shankar has done some great stuff. I loved his Castlevania stuff. I obviously loved his what was it called? The rip-off shows he was doing. The bootleg series he was doing.
Oh, yeah, he did
like Laundry Day and the Power Rangers stuff and Spawn and things. It was cool,
Laundry Day, man. That is
amazing.
Still the best Punisher thing.
It's really good. It's really fucking good. I actually rewatched that not so long ago, and I was like, yeah, that's still good. That's still really good.
That Power Rangers thing is fucking awesome.
It is. I don't want that for Power Rangers, but it is awesome.
I kind of do.
I don't. I think Power Rangers is silly people wearing fucking motorcycle helmets fighting guys in suits. It doesn't need. I like the like we've done this as a what if it was super serious and dark, but I don't want that as a.
I think the thing with Power Rangers is there's so many iterations of Power Rangers that it doesn't really matter.
Isn't that their attempt with Legend of the White Dragon? I think that's what they're going to try and do with that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Bat in the Sun production that they did with Jason David Frank before he passed.
Okay. Yeah.
That looks like it's going that way, where it's like it's not Power Rangers. It's going to be a much more serious. Well, a lot like I guess the Super Sentai was, ironically, in Japan, where it is a bit more serious, or a lot of it is. Yeah. Anyway, Devil May Cry. So I, fan of the creator of the show. Voice cast is superb. Johnny Young Bosch, speaking of Power Rangers. We've got Kevin Conroy in his final performance as the vice president in this.
I forgot Conroy.
I'm pretty sure it must be his last one, because I think they got someone else to help out with some extra lines after his death. So I'm assuming there's nothing else that he's got coming out. I don't know.
He's got something upcoming.
Oh, has he? Oh, okay.
Relatively Super TV movie.
Oh, cool. Okay. So anyway, I was a fan of the games enough. I wouldn't call myself an expert. I have played through 1 to 5, I think. But I haven't gone. I'm not into the lore. I don't know all that stuff. Not too much. I'm I hit 40. My memory's terrible now, so I'm not going to pretend like I fucking know. If I did, I don't anymore. Anyway, in summation, ages ago, there are demons. There's like a demon world, like hell and earth, and then forever ago, there was a demonic invasion of Earth, and there was a demon called Sparda, who was on the demon. He was a demon, but he rebelled against hell, and he created a barrier between the two realms. So between hell and earth, there's now this barrier, and there's been peace ever since, and demons can't get through. But some demons have started turning up, and people don't know why. And there's this white rabbit guy who is like a demon terrorist. I
like the design on the white rabbit guy.
Oh, he's great, and he actually looks really menacing in some bits. I'm like, yeah, he actually looks really good. They pulled that off. It is cool. He breaks into a museum, and he steals this sword, which was the sword of Sparda, and appears to be potentially the key to opening the rift again. Meanwhile, we've got Dante, who is the unbeknowing son of Sparda, which I guess is a spoiler for this show, but not a spoiler if you've played the games. And he has a pendant that was given to him by his mother, is related to Sparda, not that he knows that, and as a result, he becomes a target for both the White Rabbit, who wants him for something, and also Dark Com, this new secret militaristic arm of the government, headed up by the Vice President, played by Kevin Conroy. So, you know, the show goes on from there. Lots of stylish action, as you would expect from a show like this. Story is the story is what the story is. I'm not going to say it's particularly highbrow or particularly intelligent. It just is. It's mostly an excuse to go from one action scene to the next action scene.
Yeah, which is
like a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, right.
I mean, that's kind of the whole thing with that. If there's anything else, you'd be a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I think so. But you mentioned disappointments, so let's move on to disappointments. I think the biggest, a couple of things that I think I'm just kind of bored of this trope in, and it's more a trope in series than it is in films.
I know what you're gonna say.
What am I gonna say?
You're gonna say the bait and switch.
No, that wasn't what I was gonna say. Although that is another point I was gonna bring up. So yes, it's not like he's not in it at all, but Dante is often incapacitated in some way, so that Lady can take over or someone else can take over, and then Dante's kind of, you know, comes back for a bit and then he's off again. It's like every time you get to a bit where Dante's going to do something really cool, he seems to be disabled or sidelined in some way in lieu of a different character.
I hate that whole, like, hey, let's make The Witcher, but let's not make
But what if it didn't have Geralt in it? Yeah, I know, I don't get it.
Background character in his own show. What? Wouldn't that be good?
So that did annoy me in this. I that was going to be another point. So yeah, okay. But you're right. That did bug me. Not that the character of Lady's awful, and not that I didn't enjoy her character in this show. Just more that I'm watching fucking Devil May Cry for Dante, right? That's the reality. And Lady being in the mix is great. She was a character in the games and or you know, in at least one game from memory. So cool. But I'm here for Dante, right? The other thing, and then this is the thing that annoys me, the trope that kind of annoys me, alongside that one, is Dante. It's the thing when they're like, here's the character. We know how the character is, right? Because of the games or because of the original movie, right?
Yeah.
Let's make a show where they aren't that character yet. You know, and it's like, oh, they got to grow into that character. So give it a couple of seasons, and you might see the Dante you want to see. But for now, he's not that Dante. He's got, you know, he's not that Dante yet, so he's a bit shit.
You mean like the Tomb Raider thing?
Yeah, like the Tomb Raider. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So they do that here, and it's kind of irritating. I mean, Dante's still Dante to an extent, but there's a lot of moments where you're like, nah. A load of the dialogue. Oh, I mean, not that it was particularly well, kind of.
Okay.
It's a younger Dante for sure. It's the dialogue is so cringe in this in places. And it's not like it wasn't in the video games. Although in the video games it seemed more tongue-in-cheek and intentional. Here it just comes off as cringe. Right. And the fucking soundtrack. Oh my god. Now I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with this, because a lot of people are going to fucking love the soundtrack. I get it, right? And I also know why they did it. Because Devil May Cry is a PS2 game, came out in the PS2 era, and it was all new metal. I get it. That was the era of new metal.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ. The opening credits to this are fucking Limp Bizkit rolling. Every time there's an action scene, it's like, here's Papa Roach to do some fucking shit. Or fucking Evanescence. I'm like, oh my god. This music, like, if you like it, you like it. This music was cringe to me when it came out. It was like the worst part of metal in that era for me.
Oh, God,
and now it's just even more cringe. And every time it came on, I was like, oh my God, could it just stop? And I get that's so subjective because so many people will probably love it.
Yeah,
I would say, though, I really like a lot of the soundtracks from the earlier Devil May Cry games. I'm like, just remix those. Why did you do this?
They weren't new metal, though, were they?
No, they weren't new metal. They weren't. They were more kind of techno-y metal. They're like kind of dance metal is how I would kind of describe
it. I remember it being pretty fucking rocking.
It's rocking, funky. It's got a lot of beats. It's kind of like a mix between dance and occasional metal is how I would call it. I'm not a musician. That's my description of it. But anyway, it's not new metal. What I mean is, I understand why they did it because Devil May Cry is a product of that era, and I feel like they did it well intentioned. Where they're like, well, that was the era of new metal, so new metal was edgelordy too. Let's do that as the soundtrack, and we can get a load of named brands in there and loads of well-known popular songs. It'd be like Rage Against the Machine or Papa Roach or whatever. It's not awful, but it is kind of awful. Like it's like I enjoyed watching,
awful, but it's kind of awful.
Well, I kind of enjoyed watching it, but it was trash, and I was like half paying attention and cringing half the time. But then there'd be a cool action scene, and I'd be like, "Yeah, that was cool." It's not good.
So it's literally a show to watch while you're doing the laundry.
I watched it in one morning, and I was doing everything else.
Yeah,
but watching it, then an action scene would happen. I'd be like, okay, cool, because I was quite looking forward to it, and after episode 1, I was like, I'm going to keep it on, but I'm now going to do other stuff while it's on, and occasionally look back. It's not terrible. I'd be really curious what like a Devil May Cry super fan would make of it. I feel like they would hate it. But I don't know.
Well, from what I have seen a few reviews of people that are Devil May Cry, and they fucking hate it.
Okay, there we go. That was my suspicion. Because I can't call myself a super fan, but I will say it felt off to me. Yeah. With what I remember.
I'm certainly not a super fan. I have played most of the games.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I've played them, but I couldn't tell you the story from most of them.
No, me neither. I couldn't sort of. Yeah, I'm not.
They were even the video games, and this is probably sacrilege to Devil May Cry fans. I'm sorry. For me, Devil May Cry was a series of games when the cutscenes happened, I generally skipped them and just got on to the next bit of the action and puzzle bits. I don't really care. So that was just me.
It's that sort of set of games that are like.
They've got a real hardcore following.
Meta and stuff like that, isn't it? It's that sort of action, quick cutscene, action. So it's and I do like that.
I do too. I really enjoy the games, and I have been intending on playing the latest one for a while. I just haven't got round to grabbing it and playing it, but I'm sure I will at some point. So yeah, well, it sounds like the major fans also don't like it, and fair enough. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm not so offended by it. It's just kind of rubbish. And that's not a knock on the cast, by the way. I thought the cast were superb.
Honestly, the trailer kind of showed that I was like, yeah, this
isn't for me. Yeah, I did the same with me, but I was like, I like Devil May Cry, and I loved Castlevania.
Yeah.
And Castlevania Nocturne turned itself around with season 2 as well.
I still haven't seen season 2 yet.
Yeah, so I liked season 2 quite a lot. Not as much as Castlevania, but
I still slightly worried, but I don't remember enough of season 1 that kind of keeps putting me off.
I reckon you can get away with it.
You were like you had all the praise for season 2.
Well, compared to season 1, I thought it was a big step up, and I kind of hope that it's found its feet now.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is a big fat no then.
It's not a big fat no. If you want to watch some anime style action.
Yeah.
And a paper thin demon plot, and you can probably guess exactly what's happening the whole way through, then it's fine.
that the demons are just like good people.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, sorry, I forgot. I forgot about there is a massively shoehorned in immigrant storyline. Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I'd actually forgotten that even happens. Yeah, sorry. In the middle of this nonsense, they try to make a serious commentary about immigration. This is not the fucking show to be doing that. I'm sorry. I'm all for... if you want to do a piece of science fiction or horror or whatever genre you want to do, a thriller or whatever, on immigration or have immigration themes, I'm all for it. Not in this trash, though. This is not the place for it. It's just not. Like, and so, yeah, there's demon immigrants. Yeah, forgot about that. You know, there's a time and a place, I think. And this is just like, this is a stupid... You can fucking Limp Bizkit in the fucking opening credits. There's no place for serious discussion in this show. I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot about that. Damn. Yeah, I completely forgot about that subplot. And that is actually a major subplot as well. That's you know, a major part of this show.
Yeah.
God, no, we got the demons all wrong.
Oh dear.
They're escaping war.
Of course they are.
Yeah. Because they come from fucking hell. Like, but I mean, just throw it out there. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. It's always a bit of a weird one when people are like, oh, but demons can be just people too. It's like,
I think by definition, no.
Can they though?
I think the very definition is
really.
Now, I guess this show is saying that demons are not what we would refer to as demons. Okay. And fair enough, but that is also like, but there's also, I'm pretty sure they just straight up call it hell as well.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It's like if they called it something else, it was like a realm of monsters. That makes more sense. Now I think we can have that conversation. Yeah. But when you call them demons,
there's a difference between like so-called monsters and
listen to
demons.
Me type as I look up demon definition. An evil supernatural being, a devil.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
I mean, I guess
a persistently tormenting person, force, or passion. One who is extremely one who is extremely zealous, skillful, or diligent. But that doesn't work in this context. So the only ones that work in this context is an evil supernatural being, a devil.
I mean, you could say it's almost everything is up to interpretation.
Yes.
But the very nature of demons.
Yeah, but the only way you would make that work is if you were like, oh my god, they lied to us this whole time, and actually they're not evil. Yeah, but then the demons invade, and they are fucking evil in this show. So I don't know. It's not good. I am
certainly going to
watch it at your peril. It's not awful, but it's certainly not good. It's not good. Anyway, what else have you watched?
So I also watched The Damned.
The Damned? Tell us about The Damned.
So this is a 2024 horror movie, although I believe it was released at the beginning of this year.
Okay, I thought this. Well, I said the screenshot I got looked great.
So it's directed by Thorder Paulson, starring Odessa Young, Joe Cole, Rory McCann, and Siobhan Finneran. So this is set in the later half of the 19th century. And it's about a Icelandic fishing post. So it's almost completely cut off from everywhere. It's sort of surrounded by icy sea and rocks. And it's basically every season a bunch of fishermen go out there, they fish, and they bring back their catch to, I guess. I don't think anybody's going to get rich this way, but it's to live well enough, I think, for the next.
Sure.
And Odessa Young plays Eva, who the previous season, her husband, who was the owner of this station, died out on the water, and so she's now widowed, and she owns this station, and all of the people here work for her. They're all fishermen, except for Helga, Helga's sort of like, she's sort of the maid. She's the one who does all the cooking and all the cleaning and looking after the sort of the general sort of well-being, I guess, of these craggy faced, hardened fishermen. And it's, you know, utterly beautiful, but seriously harsh.
Yeah.
You know, freezing, terrible conditions. And one morning when they're about to leave, in the distance they can see that a ship has run aground. It's sinking. Half of the people want to go and try and rescue some of them, and Roy McCann's character Ragnar says, "No, we cannot. They're in dire straits as it is. They haven't had a good fish course yet, and they're currently subsiding on what is the bait for their fishing. So they're really they're already at a low point." And Ragnar says, "If we go out there, that's more mouths to feed. That's, you know, we don't know who they are. It's a terrible decision, but we shouldn't go out there." And Eva is in two minds, but eventually she says, "No, Ragnar's right. We're already, you know, bare bones. We can't afford to rescue them, and you know, out there as well where they are, it's all rocks. It could be hideous for us." So basically, watch as the ship goes down, and you know, it's horrible. While Eva is walking along the beach, she then finds a barrel, which is clearly from the ship, and it has some form of preserved meat in it.
Right.
Which they're like, "My God, this is great! This is a barrel of meat that we can, you know, this is great for us." And Eva says, "Do you think there are more out there? We can walk the beaches." And Ragnar says, "Look, there's no way that we're going to get anything else. There might be stuff out there, but it'd be dangerous." And she says, "Well, we're already pretty fucked. Maybe we should go out and see if we can find more barrels of meat or more provisions, let's say." I'm not really spoiling anything. But they go out, and when they get there, they find that on the rocks there are a number of survivors,
right,
who immediately try and get into the boat. Upon them, the sailors going, "We've got to get out of here. We cannot take them. We've got to get back." And Daniel, one of the fishermen, he kills one of them with an axe. He's grabbing hold of Eva's arm, and he's pulling, and he's trying to get onto the boat, and he's almost pulling her over. One of the sailors already has been pulled over. It's all awful, but he kills this guy with an axe, and they manage to get away from them. They leave these poor, you know, I think they're supposed to be English. What I like is the main cast I think are supposed to be Swedish, I think.
Right.
And I think the ship that goes down is supposed to be English, but you can't understand what the English are saying, which I thought, if that's what they're doing, because I'm sure there was a Union Jack on the boat when it was going down, and I like that they decided we can understand them because theoretically we're them, but we can't understand the others because they're foreign, sort of thing. I like that. That was kind of cool. This movie is beautifully shot. There is a wonderful, when they get back to the shore and they're all fighting over each other, you know, over what's happened, and Eva is on the beach, horrified by what they've done, and you know you're looking up over the water and you're in the distance, and it is beautifully shot. It's really, really atmospheric and wonderful. What then happens is the bodies wash ashore, and Helga says they're going to turn into Droga. We need to tie them up with knotted rope. We need to move the caskets that we put them in around so that they don't know where they're going.
Yeah.
And we need to put iron nails into their feet to stop them coming into our dreams.
Right.
Some of the crew were like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, mad old Helga's, you know, telling ghost stories, blah 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 blah." And some of them are like, "Shit, you know, we believe in that sort of thing." So, you know, there's a thing. But then they have a really good fish haul. They kind of have a nice sort of a celebratory thing, but Eva keeps having dreams. She keeps seeing what she thinks is there and may not be there.
Right.
And then the fish disappear that the haul that they brought in disappears, and it gets even more desperate as they're trying to just survive. And are there really Draga there or not? You know, is it just them, or is it really?
It sounds really interesting. Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, so I'm not going to tell you about how it ends. But it is a really, really beautifully shot, atmospheric. It's classed as a folk horror. I would say that's kind of what I would class it as too.
Sure.
It feels very much like your classic 19th century ghost story. Really, it's got
cool.
that atmosphere of it. I will say that from what I can gather, some people have been disappointed in the end. I wasn't. I think it did exactly what I was kind of expecting it to do, which I think will be. I mean, I am kind of spoiling things, but I think a lot of people are disappointed with the ending, and I wasn't, because I think it's telling the story it's telling, and it's perfectly in keeping with those stories.
Yeah.
Odessa Young is really good as the sort of barely trying to keep them together widow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's having feelings for one of the sailors. She's having, you know, they're starving. She's trying to keep them together. She's trying to keep their spirits up. She's doing her best in awful, you know, circumstances, and she's really, really good. It's a really nice performance. Everybody else is great. I mean, Rory McCann, you know, I would say almost anybody who's a horror fan knows.
Yeah,
Rory
well, yes,
McCann.
Yeah.
He's pretty solid in his role. Yeah, all of the roles are great. Joe Cole is great. It's a really, really well done, eerie, atmospheric folk horror. I would highly recommend it to anybody who likes this sort of period piece ghost story.
Yeah.
I think it's a very well done one of those. But I think I will give the caveat that, rather like we were discussing the current view on horror movies, I think if that's your view of horror movies, you are going to be disappointed in this film.
Yeah.
This is not for you. This is not a jumpy boo scare,
Sure.
slashery type movie. It's not that. It is a atmospheric, slow, very slow paced, but not, you know, not in a bad way. And it's only like an hour and a half long. It's a quite a short movie, and I think its pace works really, really well. It's really nicely paced, even if slow. But that's the sort of story it is. It's that sort of dread build up. It's that, you know,
Yeah.
characters in a dire situation getting worse, and, you know, is it in their heads? Are they really seeing things? Is it just their starving brains doing terrible things to them? Or,
Yeah.
you know, it's that sort of movie. So if you go into it thinking, oh, it's a horror movie, you're going to be disappointed. But I think if you want a really well crafted ghost story, this is it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I recommend it on those bases.
Cool. No, I will definitely check that out. That sounds right up my street. Well, from horror to horror comedy, I watched The Monkey.
Okay.
That's
on my list of things to watch, but I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, well, I won't spoil it, except to say I fucking laughed my ass off watching this movie. This movie's hilarious.
Well, that's good.
I really enjoyed this movie. Really, really enjoyed this movie. Way more than I was expecting. You kind of like The Gorge, but for horror comedy instead of, you know.
Yeah.
This was a blast. I think it might have been missold as a horror movie when it's actually clearly a horror comedy. Like, it's ridiculous.
The trailer does show, you know.
I thought one trailer was like super horror and the other trailer was super comedy, and it was like, which trailer did you see? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this movie. So effectively, well, the movie kind of opens introducing the monkey. We see a man entering a antique pawn shop, and he's got this monkey, this, you know, drumming monkey, wind up drumming monkey.
Yeah.
And he's trying to sell it to the owner, and the owner's like, we don't take toys. And he's like, it's not a toy, do not call it a fucking toy. It doesn't like being called. Like, he's completely out of his brain, this man. And he's covered in blood as well. And the antique man's like, you got a lot of blood on you. And he's like, oh no, don't worry, it's not mine. It's someone else's. So anyway, he's like, anyway, I want to get rid of this monkey. He's like, anyway, I need to get rid of this monkey. But anyway, he tries to get rid of it. Stuff happens. I feel like I don't want to spoil any of the things that happen in this movie because they made me laugh so much. Anyway, he disappears, the man from the shop. He disappears after trying to flamethrower the monkey. He disappears. And his wife then has to raise their identical twins together, on her own, sorry. And she's played by Tatiana Maslany, who is fantastic in this film. Never watched She-Hulk, heard it was terrible, but she's great in this. She's a good actress. She's fine.
Yeah, she is a good actress.
It's annoying. Marvel keep ruining people.
Yeah.
You know, like, she's great in this. She's fantastic.
It's even worse than that, because I think Marvel seems to be bringing out the worst in people as
well. Well, that too. I mean, I guess they're being told what to say and they're saying stuff.
Yeah.
But she's great in this. She's fantastic. So she's raising Hal and Bill, I think their names are, identical twins. And eventually they discover the monkey in the closet. And you know, it belongs to their father. So they're like, oh, you know, I've inherited this monkey. You know, it's a toy monkey that belonged to our father. So we're we're it has sentimental value. But anyway, they wind it up. It appears to be broken. They wind it up, and then it drums, and then someone dies, and they're like, well, that was weird, because when the deaths happen in this movie, they're like, basically what happens is you turn the key, the monkey does the drum, the monkey then at random seemingly chooses a target, so there's no control over what the monkey chooses, and it doesn't necessarily go after your family, or it just like whatever the fuck, it will pick someone in your life, and they die at random, but they die in that kind of almost Final Destination, oh, it was an accident, but it's like the most ludicrous accident, right? It's like ridiculous. I haven't read the short story, because it's a Stephen King short story, right?
Yeah, that's yeah.
So I don't know, that might be a comedy too, but this leans so heavily into the ludicrous. The deaths are so over the top and so gory, but in the funniest way. Like, like it's clearly intentional. Like they knew exactly what they were doing with these deaths.
Yeah.
From the first death, I think the first death of this movie perfectly sets the tone for what this film is trying to do. And then you're like, okay, cool. It's that kind of movie. And all of the deaths in this, I laughed out loud a couple of times at the deaths in this film, because they're so ludicrous. Like, so ludicrous.
It's directed by Osgood Perkins as well, isn't it? And he's great.
He is great. I think this might be my favourite film of his. I mean, yeah, Longlegs was wonderful. Yeah, I've liked a lot of his films. I think it might be my favourite, though.
Okay, that's good. If you like it more than Longlegs, that's interesting.
Well, they're very different movies.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Like they're not really comparable. No. I'm just thinking like, well, no, maybe it's not better than. Right, I don't know if it's better than Longlegs. However, I can guarantee you, I would watch this movie more often because it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's up there with his best work, I think. It's really, I thought so anyway. And again, this is another one I think is quite divisive online, with people kind of loving or hating it. I fall on the loved it side. Anyway, they end up growing up, and they kind of lose touch with each other. They become estranged. But ultimately, so ultimately, when they were kids, one of the kids thinks he's disposed of the monkey forever, and they think that's it. That's the end of it. It's done. But obviously, it comes back, and the plot continues in their adult life. It's very Stephen King in that way. We got the childhood, and we got the adult life. It feels kind of Stephen King, except for the over-the-top, ludicrous gore and silliness.
Well, I mean, that's another Stephen King movie wise. I mean, just look at.
Well, that's true.
Oh Christ, the one with the truck. I mean, that's fucking mental.
Well, yes, there is Maximum Overdrive. We discussed that on the show recently. Right?
Maximum Overdrive. That quite a lot recently, yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely loved this. This movie's fantastic, and I think it's kind of, at its heart, which I'm guessing is probably more in the Stephen King novel. But I think is as stupid and over the top and ridiculous as this movie is. There is a kind of commentary behind it of like, people just fucking die in your life. But they do, and that's something you have to deal with in life, is that people will die, and there is no justice, there is no necessarily any big plan, people just fucking die. And I think this movie, I think if there was one commentary to take away from this movie, it would be that. It is like a commentary on the kind of futility of like, well, people just die, whatever, there's not necessarily a big plan for it. And it's kind of shown in the way that the monkey just randomly picks. There's no. It's not like, oh, we brought this cursed object home and now it's gonna possess our daughter and it's gonna kill our granddad, and then you know what I mean. It's going to work its way through the family,
it's
and
not like those sort of Amicus movies, the sort of
like the Possession or
yeah.
The Conjuring movies or Annabelle, and it's like no, it's just going to randomly fucking kill someone because there's scenes where they don't even have the fucking monkey, but they know the monkey's done it because it's so fucking ridiculous. Like, oh my god, this crazy accident's happened, and it's like ludicrous. And they're like, oh, the monkey's fucking back then. Like, clearly, like it's the monkey. Yeah, I love this movie. I don't want to spoil any of the deaths because they made me laugh. That it's very silly, but very well made and very funny.
It's got a pretty good cast as well. You've got Theo James. Adam
Theo
Scott,
James twice.
Elijah Wood.
He's doing a double impact.
Yeah.
He plays both Hal and Bill in their later life.
I do love that Elijah Wood has got this sort of.
Oh, he's such an ass. He's so good at playing assholes.
Yeah, but I like that he got really into his horror.
Yes,
and he's done some really good horror stuff.
He has, yeah. I really rate Elijah Wood as an actor. Actually, I think he's superb.
His remake of what was it? Was it Maniac?
Did he remake Maniac? I don't think I saw that.
Yeah, Maniac. It was his version. It's really good.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen that.
I think it was his production company that made it as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a really good remake. I would really.
I loved Elijah Wood. I mean, obviously, I loved him in Lord of the Rings. Thought he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I remembered him from the Faculty and stuff vaguely.
Faculty.
Deep Impact. But I think what really won me over was he did the fantastic Lord of the Rings trilogy. But then after that, when he did his anti-trilogy of being an asshole in films, like things like Eternal Sunshine, when he was in Sin City. I was like, wow, he really is great. Like he really is.
City, does he?
No. But he purposely was like, I've played the the shining light of goodness and sweetness in Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna do the opposite for at least 3 movies, and it's like, yeah, cool, man. Like, yeah, I like that.
And he always seems like he didn't. He's one of those actors that never let it go to his head.
He always seems real down to earth and just
Weirdly, most of the actors on Lord of the Rings all sort of seemed to.
They all seem to be that way. Yeah.
None of them really sort of became terrible assholes or anything.
No. So yeah, I highly recommend The Monkey. Is where I'm going with this. Highly recommend it. Not going to spoil anything beyond the plot. It's an excuse for people to die in very silly ways. It's very funny.
That sounds brilliant.
I had a lot of fun. I'm excited for you to watch it and let me know what you think. But yeah. So that's all of it, right? That's all of us done. No?
Still got the life list.
Oh yeah. There it is. It's in the list. I don't know why I just completely blanked that one. Yes, the life list. Sorry, continue. I do apologize.
So I was clearly in a.
You were in a mood, clearly. Yes.
In a slightly more I mean, I don't want to be disparaging, but in a slightly more chick flick.
It's a genre. That's a genre, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I think it could be. It is a genre.
I think it's disparagingly called so, but I like a good chick flick.
I would lovingly call them chick flicks. I've enjoyed plenty of chick flicks.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but
so this is the Netflix movie. It's The Life List, directed by Adam Brooks, starring Sophia Carson, Kyle Allen, Connie Britton, Sebastian de Souza, and we are introduced to Alex, who is she's kind of seems to be floating around. She's just lost. She sort of lost a job, a teaching job. She didn't finish college, if I remember rightly. Her boyfriend, I think, slightly unfairly is seen as a sort of a. I mean, he's a bit of a dweeb, but he's making this. He's got this plan to make this computer game called like Apocalypse America or Zombie Apocalypse America or something.
Right. Okay.
Which her family are like, oh god, he's into computer games. Which was, I thought, it's like, fuck off. There's nothing wrong with being into computer games, all right? Stop this nonsense. Anyway, there's an interesting thing about that later. But anyway, you know, they see him, the boyfriend, as a bit of a, you know, dweeb, and she doesn't reach. She's just sort of floating through her life. She has two brothers, and her mum, played by Connie Britton, owns this cosmetics company, and she's currently working for her mum in this company.
Right.
And a family gathering at the beginning, you know, you get there, the sort of the family dynamics, and that she's, you know, a little bit lost, but she's the fun aunt, and she gives her brother's kids cake when they shouldn't have it, and you know,
yeah.
And she there's quite a funny sort of thing when she sort of goes in, and her sister-in-law is pregnant, and then almost everybody at this gathering that's of her age and you know, a female, is pretty much pregnant. So it's like everywhere she turns, there's like a pregnant woman of her age sort of thing, and she's like totally sort of, oh my god, this is I'm trapped here. And her friend turns up, and she's like, oh god, finally you turned up, you're the only person of my age that isn't pregnant. Like, fuck for that sort of thing. Her mother, after the sort of, you know, the party, her mother says, the cancer's back. I'm gonna die.
Right.
So there's nothing we can do this time round. I've, you know, got very little time. It's the end.
Yeah.
So, and quite quickly she does die.
Right.
So the family then go to the will reading, and she is horrified to find out that her mother has left the company not to her, but to her daughter-in-law, the other daughter-in-law, who, you know, has been working. You know, it's not just a random thing. She was already working for the company.
Yeah.
She's left shares and things to the sons, and she's left the painting to one, and she's left, I forget what the other son has. She left something else for that son. And to her, she has left but basically she says, the lawyer, played by Brad, played by Carl Allen, says, I need to talk to you after, you know, in private, to give you what your mum has said.
Right.
So obviously she's devastated. You know, she hates this. The house, her mother's house, has been they're allowed to keep it for 12 till the end of the year, basically. It's been paid for. It's already been paid for, so they don't need to do anything like that. And then she's once they're gone, she's told the guy, the lawyer, passes her this thing, and it's a DVD, and it's a list of things that she wrote when I think she was like 13 or something.
Right.
And it's a list of things that she hoped to achieve when she was older. So it's get a tattoo, go in a mosh pit, learn to drive, become a great teacher, help the needy. There's a few other sort of things as well, like, you know, all sort of stuff that she hasn't done.
Yeah.
And her mum, she says, have you got a DVD player? And she says, yeah, it's right next to my video player.
I have both.
Yeah, of course I do, but we're who we are.
No, I know.
So she says, it's okay, my boyfriend's got an Xbox or something. So he's like, good, that'll work. So she goes home and she plays the DVD, and her mum, it's her mum. And she says, you know, I feel that you've been coasting for your life, and I want you to do this list. Every time you check off, play Claire de Lune. That's one of the things as well. Learn to play Claire de Lune for her mum.
Right.
So every time you tick off one of the things on the list, you will get another CD.
Okay.
You will get your inheritance once you've done the list. However, you have till New Year's.
Right.
So you have like a whole year to do this. So obviously she's like pissed off, and she berates her brothers, and she's just rather like the my old ass. She's a bit bratty. Thankfully, certainly for me, Sophia Carson is charming enough that she and she brings it back. That,
sure.
That she's not too
unlikable.
Yeah. She's just the right amount of unlikable.
It's a difficult balance to get.
Yeah, it is a difficult balance, and I think she does it very well. The actress I've previously seen recently, she was on Carry On, so I quite like that. I've only seen her, I think, in 2 things so far, but she's really charming and really cool. So then there's this, the Brad, the lawyer, is he's kind of helping her. He gets her a teaching job at a shelter, where she meets Garrett, who is like I can't remember if he's a doctor or something, but he's a very sort of posh and very, very English. He's very posh and English and a bit pompous, but he's very charming and nice, and they end up sort of together, and she has a strained relationship with her father, who her and her mother were divorced, and they're separate. He has this great relationship with her brothers, but not with her, because it seems to be that she had this singular relationship with her mum, which the brothers don't have, and it's there are some really nice moments where she's being a bit bratty, and she's saying to them, you had these things with dad, and it's like, yeah, but you had that with mum. You don't realise how distant we were from mum. We didn't have the same relationship with mum that you did. And when she realises, shit, they're right. I am being a bit of a brat, and we did have this relationship that I didn't notice that they didn't have. It's got a really nice pacing. I really like the way it sort of moves on through the months, and it's
so it's counting down to the deadline.
Yeah, and it's her learning how to play. And she's got to read Moby Dick. She falls asleep on the train trying to read. That's how she first meets Garrett. She's on
Moby Dick feels like one of the easier tasks on that list, but
yeah. Her mum does say you don't have to do the car and you don't have to do the tattoo. And maybe not the mosh pit, but she does do those things. It's really fun.
I'm guessing you get to a point in the movie where she's doing them because she actually wants to do them. She's choosing to embrace the.
Yes.
Yeah. It's sweet. It sounds like a really sweet idea for a movie.
It is a really nice. I think it's based on a book, so it is a really lovely, sweet sort of. I mean, almost coming of age thing, even though she's, clearly a grown up woman, but it is, a finding yourself movie. It's that sort of, she's lost, and doesn't have a direction, and it's sort of coming back to yourself, finding out who you are, and it is really sweet. It's really cool, and obviously, I'm not fucking spoiling anything by saying that she really should be with the lawyer and not Sarah, because the lawyer clearly is.
I thought that was implied.
Exactly. The lawyer is, this movie is not going to have any real surprises for you. No. It's not that sort of movie.
But you don't go into this kind of movie for big twist.
I really liked it. It's a really nice finding your feet movie. It's quite funny. Like I said, Sophia Carson is really charming, and she's just the right amount of bitch to sort of occasionally make you go, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
But she pulls it back to, well, she's just, certainly for me, I think she pulled it back to be charming enough that, that you wanted, you were rooting for her, and you were hoping that,
Yeah.
let's face it, her and Brad were going to end up together. I mean, Brad's got this wonderful girlfriend who's perfect and stuff, and there is a little twist with the family that you find out, which is really, again, not going to surprise anybody when you find out what happened. But there's a really nice sort of moments with her and her brothers, and just sort of her finding herself, and her having this. There's a really nice scene where it's not a spoilable movie. It's there's I really like the scene where Garrett, he's.
I feel like I know the plot to this movie, so I don't
Yeah,
think you're
exactly.
going to spoil anything.
He's she always ends up at his house, his flash pad and his flash
Sure.
friends and all that sort of stuff. And she says, "Look, why don't we ever go to my place? Why don't we ever do stuff with my friends?"
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Okay, fine." And they have this. He goes to her apartment, and he's sort of like looking around it really sneery, and there's a broken chair that he sits in, and she says, "Hey, the chair's broken," like thing. And they have her friends come over, and they've got little friend in jokes and stuff. And he's really offended by how inane their conversation is, and
Right.
and he doesn't get their weird little jokes and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that's people.
Yep.
It's just what happens, and it was done really well. You might say it is a little cartoony, but I think it was done really nicely. And it's, even though you're clearly supposed to not like Garrett at that moment, you can understand.
You can understand it, yeah.
It's not really like Garrett has been, hiding who he is. Really, he's telling you who he is. So you get those, you get that sort of thing, and I really enjoyed it. It's a fun, charming little Netflix movie that if you like a good chick flick, this is certainly it.
Well, I do when I'm in the mood, for sure, and it sounds good to me. Sounds fine. Yeah. So this is Netflix, you said?
It is. It's a Netflix movie.
Okay, I will probably check that out when I'm in the mood.
Yeah.
Because it does take me every now and again. Well, is there any news you would like to cover? We did get another 28 Years Later trailer today.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's all right. It's good. It's not as good as the first one. That first trailer was.
I don't think I need to see it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That first one.
I would recommend.
Yeah.
It certainly doesn't. Look, nothing in this next trailer has made me think, "Oh God, that doesn't look good," or "Oh God, I don't want to watch that."
Yeah.
I just think leave it with the first trailer.
Yeah, you don't need any more.
You don't need any more. I wouldn't have even released this trailer. I think that first one was perfect.
You completely sold it.
I'm still sold. The second trailer just was not necessary. I was 100% sold on that first trailer.
Is it slightly more character driven, or?
It just shows more, and a little bit more plotty.
Okay.
A little more. It's not bad. It's just that first trailer was so good. It's going to be hard to
trailer.
Yeah.
There was a few other trailers released over the last couple of weeks that were interesting and weird, or not. Have you seen the Megan 2 trailer?
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about? Did I tell? Oh no, we talked about it off air. We haven't talked about.
We talked about it off air. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. I genuinely was like really excited for Megan 2. I was looking forward to it. I saw the trailer and I was like, "Oh, why have you fucking done this? This is awful." I could be wrong when it comes out, but fucking hell.
I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna watch it because I love the first one so much.
Yes. No, I loved the first one. I thought the first one was great when I finally got around to watching it. But
I'm so worried about this one.
Yeah. They should, again, that's another one. They should have stuck with the first trailer. That teaser when she's just dancing about a bit.
Yeah,
so you should have stuck with that, because I was really hyped to that point.
there's some funny bits in it. I like the bit where she.
I like it when she's the desktop thing. That's funny.
That was funny, and I like the bit where she stood over the dude, and she says, "Hey, remember when I tried to kill you and burn down the lab last time? I'm not going to do that."
Yeah.
Funny. You're okay. I'm not going to kill you. I thought that was funny.
But the human-looking android machine Terminator thing is, oh god.
So it feels like the current trope of let's redeem evil character.
Yeah, don't.
Please don't redeem evil character. Some evil characters shouldn't be redeemed because
no, and also like
we like them as evil characters.
Yeah, I was going to say Megan is not like. When I think of Megan, I think, oh my god, she's awful. I think that's such a fun character. I don't want her to become good or anything.
It's.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the movie's totally different. The trailer did not work for me.
It could just be the way the trailer's done.
Maybe. It just feels like a terrible concept to me, to be honest.
Let's redeem Chucky. No. Never redeem Chucky.
No.
You can't redeem Chucky.
No.
And that's why we like Chucky. You know? And she shouldn't be redeemed either. You know, and maybe we're, like you said, maybe we're wrong, but what are the other trailers that came out there? There was a whole stack of ones that were, some of them were terrible, and some of them were.
I'm trying to think. It's been a while.
It has been. I know we discussed them when they came out, and I can't remember what they were. Oh, the Superman one. I
liked it more. Has some weird bits.
Yeah.
Not sure why the robots are calling him Superman. That's a real nitpick, but it felt really weird. I love the robots though. Very Silver Age looking robots. Like all that.
It's also they're robots. They don't feel anything, and then proceed to have more character than.
Well, one of that the quote unquote female robot.
Yes.
Like was immediately full of emotion, and it's like, what the fuck? Like why?
That could be the joke, but it just seemed.
It didn't feel like a joke though. It felt like a misstep. Like they just didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
Maybe in context it'll be better, but
I was saying to my wife that the whole thing with crypto is like the sort of the 10-year-old boy in me goes, fuck crypto, yes, and the adult in me is like, oh god, no, please don't. It's.
I think I'm in the oh god no camp, to be honest.
I know it's really. Oh no, I'm so worried that this movie. I mean, it's not an understatement to say that the whole DC thing pretty much balances on this movie being good.
Yeah. If this movie is terrible, they're fucked. Like, let's be honest. This is they've got one shot at this. If they fuck this up, it's done.
Yeah, and this trailer didn't do anything for me to make me think that it's going to be great or good.
Well, I thought the first trailer I hated. I was like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I was a little more.
I'm now at the. It might be all right. I'm kind of like maybe I should see this in the cinema, because I feel like it's either going to be surprisingly good or fucking terrible, and I think it might be funny if it's terrible. So I'm like, it might be entertaining either way. I don't know.
I mean, the good news is that the movie list has changed. So they're not doing The Authority now, which is like, thank fuck.
Well, yeah.
Because that's a movie that shouldn't be done until you've done at least fucking 20 other movies.
It was a bizarre choice, that one.
A very fucking bizarre choice. So they've got rid of that. They've moved things around. They still haven't cast a Batman, which is weird.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Considering now that they've actually said they are doing the Batman 2.
Yeah.
It's a bit. What are you doing? It still feels like DC doesn't know what it's fucking doing.
Are they doing Batman 2?
Well, they've said.
I know they've said, but do you...
27, I think?
Part of me just thinks that this movie's never going to happen.
I don't think it.
I could be wrong, though. I could be totally wrong.
I mean, Peter's... what's his... fuck's sake?
Robert Pattinson?
Pattinson, thank you. Pattinson has said, look, we really got to do this soon because I'm going to be too fucking old.
Yeah.
If at this rate,
he's not wrong.
He's right. He's like he's supposed to be the young bloody Batman, and now already he's getting.
You're going to be doing Dark Knight Returns before long.
Oh man, but what bookends?
That'd be amazing.
First
you just skip his entire fucking career. You go to do the beginning and the end.
That would be funny.
Skip Act 2 altogether.
That would be funny. But yeah, it still feels that they don't know what they're fucking doing, and
yeah,
I'm still kind of hopeful because I've always been more of a DC fan than Marvel anyway. But we'll see. I'm certainly gonna. I think I will probably see it in the cinema.
I'm tempted now. I'm tempted now.
The Fantastic Four. That's all. Alarm bells are ringing all over that.
I don't know why they're doing it. If I'm honest, I feel like it's like, why are you like you're clearly going into Avengers, whatever the fuck. It's going to be Battle World, and you're going to end the universe.
This is their reboot, isn't it? This is their first rebooting.
Yeah, and I'm like, why introduce the Fantastic Four before that? It just feels like do it after.
I mean, the thing is, I personally have never been a Fantastic Four fan anyway.
I liked them. I liked them, but only I never read it. They just turned up in stuff, and they were fine when they turned up in stuff. That was my,
I've read some of the Fantastic Four stuff, some of the Kirby, like the really early Kirby stuff I've read, and I do, for what it is, I like it, but I've never really been a fan of them. But I kind of understand they're the first, the Marvel's first family. I get the love for them.
Well, I would have done that. The thing is, I was saying this to my housemate the other day. If it was me, and I had dug myself in such a shitty hole that Marvel has dug itself in now, thanks to Disney, I would be like, well, I don't think I'd even bother with this new Avengers movie at all. I'd just start over. But if I had to, contractually obligated, because Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth, we're doing that. I would be like, they're not in this at all. Fantastic Four are not there. Reboot, so at the end of this, it all gets destroyed, all over, lovely. You can have fucking Spider-Man fuck off to Sony if you want, and then Sony can do their thing with that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would then go, there's a new world created after all of this, as happens in these multiverse things that ultimately comes together. And I'd be like, here's the new world, here's the new Prime Universe.
Yep.
All the multiverses are closed off, and it's the 1960s, and you've got original X-Men and Fantastic Four. That's how we're starting our universe. And then Avengers come in later, and you start in the 60s and go through time. That's what I would do. But they would never do that. And I was kind of annoyed, because when I first heard about Fantastic Four being set in a parallel universe but in the 60s, I was like, oh, that'd be really cool. But then I'm like, it's going to be one movie, though. They're going to be in the 60s for exactly one fucking movie. Maybe not even a whole movie. And then they're going to be fucking multiversed away to the present day. I was like, no, I would love them to reboot this universe and be like, original X-Men in the original suits, original Fantastic Four, and then we'll build our universe from the 60s onwards. That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard the latest?
Because it's different. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we're rebooting and we're doing it different. It's not going to be a rehash.
They did do that with First Class. I mean, they did.
Yeah, they did. But that was Fox, again. I think Fox did very well with First Class.
Yeah, exactly. The latest stuff on the characters of Johnny Storm and Sue is also ringing alarm.
I haven't really read any. I have no interest particularly.
It's like the actor playing Johnny Storm has said, Johnny Storm has been portrayed as this, womanizing thing. He goes, that's not sexy anymore. It's like, oh, okay. So
no, but he was. But hang on a minute, him being womanizing wasn't a positive trait.
No,
he was always seen as a fucking idiot. Wasn't he? Or am I? I mean, I'm not a Fantastic Four expert. Like I said, I never really read the comic. But whenever he turned up in stuff and was sexist, he was heroic. But he often.
He's a cocky hothead.
Exactly. It's not deep. I mean, he's a man on fire, and they took it literally and made him a hothead. But
and of course, he's changed over the years. He's grown up, and all sorts of stuff has happened to him.
But I'm sure that he's like kind of sexist, and he makes these advances. But I don't think he's never been successful, has he? So he's kind of the butt of the joke when he does that shit.
He is the handsome hero, so he was kind of, you know, he didn't get roles. And I know that I think they're trying to make Sue the leader.
Okay, well, she was co-leader, right? I guess. Well, they're four. They're four. Weren't they equal? I don't know.
But this is the thing: is it going to be? It's a let's use their term. It's a for modern audiences.
Yeah.
Which you know
they don't exist though, do they? Haven't we established that the mythical modern audience actually doesn't exist based on ratings and viewership? I think
doesn't stop them trying to fucking apply to it, though, does it?
I guess. Well, they can keep doing it. I mean, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, you know, do what you want, but you're not. You can't. Ultimately, you can't force. And they have tried. You cannot force people to watch things they don't want to watch. Gaslighting them doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So you're at a point where it's like, well, you can keep doing it, but no one's watching it. So what are you gonna do? Like, I don't know. What's your end game? Just to lose all the money? I don't know. From what I'm seeing, people are just not watching any of this stuff. So
yeah, no, they're not.
You need to change something. What you're doing now is not working.
There's a big difference between making Sue the leader of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue she probably was. Like her and Reed probably are the leaders, right?
But then what they'll do is they'll make her the leader at the expense of Reed.
Well, that would be silly, yes.
And that's what I'm worried about.
Well, no, I think you're probably right.
You know, it's going to be another one of those sort of. She's the girl boss. Reed's a terrible, useless dude. It's like he's
a terrible, useless genius.
Yeah, he's a terrible, useless genius. How is that the Fantastic Four then?
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, I guess if it is, you know, I wouldn't be surprised because that has been kind of their way. I say we've always said though, is like, you know, with anything, any subtext or message or anything you want to put in a film, I'm here for it. Just write it well.
Yeah.
You know, just make it well written. And if you can't write a strong, independent, intelligent female character without putting down male characters, you're not a good writer. And the same goes the other way, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes in both. It goes in all directions. If you cannot write characters that are by themselves without having to put other characters down,
yeah.
If you cannot write a character that's strong, independent, and intelligent on their own merits without you fucking over everyone else around them and making them dumb, I just don't think you're very good at writing. Sorry.
No.
And it's been, you know, I've seen so much of it lately. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
I'm all for, you know, if you want a movie with whatever message, I'm a fan of science fiction. I'm all for it. Just write it well, and I'm sold.
Yep.
just do it. Just do it well. That's all I'm asking. But I'm superheroed out anyway. You know this.
I know. Yeah, I know you. I've always been a little more superhero-y than you anyway. But yeah, and.
I used to, but I'm, you know, like Batman will get me to the cinema.
I mean, he's the big superhero, isn't he? So he's the biggest.
And Dredd would get me to the cinema. And actually, in fact, 2000 AD would get me to the cinema. If you want me in the cinema,
that's almost as
you make Strontium Dog, I'm there.
Oh man, I'd kill for a fucking.
That'd be amazing. Movie. And what's happening with Rogue Trooper? That's something I need to look back at.
I don't know. That, as far as I'm aware, they're still being made.
Because that's animated as well, so that could look exactly like the comics. That could be awesome.
Has the potential to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We can hope. You know, the 2000 AD stuff has a terrible tendency to.
It does. Yes.
Appear and disappear on a regular basis. It's like a phantom. It shows its face and then disappears forever.
Well, apparently, it's scheduled to be released in cinemas in 2025.
Okay.
That's vague, but
they haven't even released a trailer or anything.
No, the last I saw was I don't think it was even actual footage. It was like an artist rendition of what it might look like. I think. So yeah, who knows?
The Tron Ares.
It's a good cast though. Jesus.
Yeah, great cast.
Tron Ares. Yeah. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting to like this. That trailer's great.
What's annoying is it's a great trailer.
Yeah.
I
know what you hate about it. I understand.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you hate about it. But that I already knew that was part of the film going in. So
yeah, I'm really happy that Trent Reznor and what's his is it Attica Ross? They're doing the soundtrack. That's gonna be fucking banging.
Nin soundtrack, which I would have said you're never going to beat Daft Punk, but Nine Inch Nails are a solid. If you have to replace them,
and he's done some truly great movie soundtracks
and other soundtracks. I still listen to the Quake soundtrack to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought this. I never wanted the Tron. The programs are invading the real world. I was never a fan of that either. But god damn, that trailer was good.
It was a good trailer.
It got me excited. I was like, okay, I'm kind of sold on this movie.
A little disappointed that Tron doesn't appear to be in it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming that they're gonna say that Ares is the newer model of Tron.
Yeah, I presume so.
And I'm assuming they're gonna make out that Tron basically died in Legacy.
Yeah.
Which is annoying because he was turning in Legacy, and it kind of was sequel baiting that Tron would be in the sequel.
Well, I think that was probably their intention, wasn't it?
But I will say I love Tron, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Tron fan, and fuck me, this trailer got me excited.
It honestly, I can't.
It got me excited. It looked great. I mean, the fucking when the cycles cut that car in half, and seeing what's the fucking what are they called? Recognizer.
Yeah.
Seeing that fucking thing just appearing around the side of the skyscraper is like, oh my god, that's actually chilling to see. That's actually quite terrifying.
Yeah. As you know.
I know.
Jared Leto turns my stomach.
Anyone that has listened to this show for any period of time should know that Matt hates Jared Leto. Now, I could take or leave him. I think sometimes he's okay. Sometimes he's awful.
He is a good actor. He's done some really good performances, but
he does some real shit.
God,
he does some real shit.
Such a weird guy. It's just no. Yeah. I'm just. Hopefully, it's going to be a good movie. I'm willing. I'm. That trailer sold me. So
yeah, same. 100% sold me.
I think to give it a go.
Yeah.
I think that was mostly it for. I think there were others, but off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Those are certainly the big ones.
Yeah. So, to the sad part of the show.
Yes.
Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah.
He was 90. So he did have a very long life. It was funny because we were talking about his born. Literally the week that he died.
Yeah, it's weird how those kind of things happen sometimes.
Yeah, and I loved him in so many movies. He's my favorite Aramis. I love him in those Three Musketeer movies. He was great in the original Shogun miniseries. My mum absolutely adored him. She's loved him since Dr. Kildare.
Oh really?
Yeah, she watched Dr. Kildare as a girl, and that was where she completely fell in love with him. So she always had a big thing. And the Thornbirds, my God, I don't know how many times my mum has seen the Thornbirds, but I'm pretty sure she could probably talk along with the dialogue the same way that I can with Star Wars.
Okay, yeah.
She's seen the Thornbirds so many times. Did you ever see the Alan Quartermain movies he did?
I don't think so.
King Solomon's Mines and the City of Gold.
King Solomon's Mines I have seen, actually, yes.
Yeah, they're a terrible sort of...
Yeah, but,
trying to be Indiana Jones movies.
Yes.
That were fun.
Yeah, because they came out...
85.
Mid-80s. Yeah, I was going to say mid-80s. Yeah.
I remember liking them.
It's like, we've got Indiana Jones at home. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember really liking them then. I haven't seen them since.
Now that you've reminded me, it might be fun to dip your toe back into that.
I've got a terrible feeling that they're going to be awful. One of the funny things that I found out, I found out that he recorded the original version of "Close to You," the famously done by the Carpenters.
Yeah,
He was the first person to record that.
I didn't know that.
No, it's I think it's a Burt Bacharach song. He wrote it, but Chamberlain was the first person to record it in '62, I think, or something like that.
Oh.
So I was like, wow, he had an incredibly long and very varied career. I mean, he played some really cool roles. I mean, he played Byron in Lady Caroline Lamb, which I love. He was even in his, like, later life. He was in like episodes of Chuck. He was a bad guy in Chuck and things like that. And yeah, he was a really great actor. And you know, just all round great performer.
Yeah.
Moving on, Val Kilmer.
Yes. We were discussing Val Kilmer, I think, for about half an hour before we started this podcast. We were like, we should probably start recording at some point because we were just talking about Val Kilmer. A wonderful actor.
Yeah. I mean, we all knew it was coming. He'd been ill for a very long time.
Well, yeah, and as I said to you, he was one where I was like, when I heard about it, I was like, okay. I mean, I don't know how he felt about it, and obviously his family are gonna mourn, but you know, in many ways, you're like, yeah, okay, like he wasn't well, and you know, he's at peace now. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe he was happy and would have liked to have continued. I don't know, but I mean, such an amazing career.
Yeah.
We were saying that like he was like so talented as that kind of reliable character actor that it's almost to his detriment when you look through his filmography, because he's always, oh my god, he's amazing in that movie. Oh, but he's not the star of that movie.
No.
He's like, you know, he's the best character in that movie, but he's not the star. He's, you know, Heat, Willow. We were discussing all of these films before the show. Top Gun. He's great in Top Gun, but again, he's not the lead.
And I think that's part
obviously Tombstone, which we've covered.
Yeah, we've covered.
Superb, and probably his best performance.
I think so. I think his doc is just one of the best portrayals of any Western ever.
I agree.
Just wonderful.
He is fantastic in that movie. Batman Forever. I think
maybe that he wasn't the lead so much also might have been to do with how spiky he was.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He didn't get on well with people, and he did get himself a bad rep.
Yeah, and what I love about him though is that he never shied away from that. He was always honest. That
well, if you watch Val, which is a tremendous,
I've got to watch it.
It's one of the best actor documentaries I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. And he's very open in that.
Yeah.
About the way he was. And the way he saw things.
And where he says, you know, oh no, I was a prick.
Yeah. Yeah. But he is such an he was such an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like in every respect.
Yeah.
And when it came to act, I mean, in many respects, he was an artist. You know, I think he was a painter as well. He did all sorts of stuff. But when it came to acting, he took it very fucking seriously. It meant the world to him.
It's really interesting as well that he seems to have fallen on this two-sided thing. Some actors who and people who worked with him say he was either the worst person they ever met. He was the like total douche. You know, he was terrible. They'd never want to work with him again. And then there are some actors and people who said he was the loveliest person I met. He was nurturing. He helped me through this movie. It was, you know, he was all about the craft. He changed the movie for me. You know, so he clearly had this, you know, compassionate and wanting to help other actors side to him. So he had this real sort of
complex man.
Yeah, it's almost like he was a real person. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. But watching Val, it really did strike me just how much he loved the craft, you know,
yeah.
and his art. He was so passionate about it.
I like what Michael Bean said about him. He said
his podcast is great, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I've seen quite a few of his.
It's pretty good.
He's pretty good. He's somebody's. But when he was asked what was Val like, he says, "I don't know. I never met him."
Yeah. I met the character. That's
exactly.
the other thing. He does lose himself in his characters. I think I said to you last week when we were talking about that, about him dying off air. I think I said to you, there was a movie I distinctly remember watching with my friend Rach. And we were like, is he ill? Because he had the fucking like scarf around his throat, and it was before he was diagnosed, I'm sure. And we were like, what is wrong with him? But it was one of those things where they're in the back of your mind. You are just like, but it's Val, and maybe he's decided, because he used to write backstories for characters as well. Like that weren't in the movie. He just would go and write them about his character. I think he's famously said that about Iceman. He thought up a backstory for Iceman and why Iceman was the way he was, and
yeah, nobody gave a fuck.
No, but it mattered to him, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so I thought, well, maybe the scarf wearing thing is just part of his character that he's decided on. Anyway, sorry, you were saying. Sorry.
No,
that was a tangent.
No, that was perfectly illustrates, you know, what we were saying about him. He was just a genuine performer, a real.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying Michael Bean said you never met him, and that.
Yeah, no, he literally said I'd never met him. I only met Doc Holliday.
Yeah. Amazing.
You know, that's it, and which is again, you know, we've said about other actors before. Sometimes that can be pretentious as fuck and annoying.
Well, of course it can, Shia LaBeouf.
And I imagine
Jared Leto's another one that does that, actually.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, I'm sure it can be, but then sometimes you look at that and go, yeah, but that's just how he does it. He's doing. I mean, I guess if it was a terrible performance, then it would be different. But
that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, some great movies. Even, you know, I loved his little thing in Maverick. I thought that was.
Oh, it was great. Yeah.
So happy to see him.
Well, I'm glad fucking Tom Cruise fought for that to happen.
Yeah.
I can't believe the studio would be like, no, fuck that. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, he was literally like the co-star of the original movie. What are you talking about? Of course we want him in it.
And I just love the fact that they were respectful to the character too. They made him.
Yes.
They made him
an admiral,
and he had a great wife,
and they made it so that you know, following that film, you know, Iceman and Maverick became firm friends because that's how the movie ended. And it would be so cheap to be like, oh, they went back to hating each other again. You know, like, it's like, no, that friendship lasted their entire life after that.
Yeah, and what I like as well is it showed the difference between their characters.
He's still Iceman. He's still the same. Yeah. Despite their friendship, they have that disagreement in how to do things.
He went on to be an admiral, and he found his feet, whereas Maverick just carried on trying to be who Maverick was. Yeah. You know, he just wanted to fly.
Yeah.
I really think that Maverick is way better than Top Gun is.
It's a better movie. It is a better movie than Top Gun is. The ending is just nonsense.
Oh, it's daft as fuck. But
it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
He turns the targeting computer off and talk to me, Dad, and you know, he shoots the thing. And there's so many weird things in that movie, like with the fucking missiles. They're like, oh no, we need these planes to do stupid stuff through the canyons because of the SAM sites. And it's like, okay, fair enough. And then they're like, but also we're going to send 5 million Tomahawk missiles to blow up this runway.
Yeah.
This right next to, like, what? Use the missiles. What are you doing? What are you doing? There's no need for any of this.
And they give you an unnecessary happy ending too, which is.
But fuck me, man!
It's almost so sugary sweet that you kind of want to spit it out, but it's not. It works.
It was such a silly ending to a movie, but goddamn, I was having so much fun by that point. Yeah. I didn't give a shit. I had so much fun watching that movie.
I mean, to be honest, maybe it was just the fact that at that period we were all starved of
Yeah.
anything fucking decent.
And man, being in the cinema, those fucking shots inside the jet, they really were effective. It was like, wow, this is so tense.
Yeah. It's a fun movie.
It is. But yeah, what a career. And it's such a shame. I do feel like he's one of those actors that had he not been struck by the illness, he'd be doing his best fucking work right now. You know, he'd be like Nick Cage, you know, where he's just fucking out there.
I think so.
Doing the art, you know, just doing it for the fun of doing
Mandy or
yeah, that's what I mean. Like he would just like maybe not the same kind of because Nick Cage is very
no.
You know,
I mean,
but
a really meaty horror role
and artsy movies, man. I just imagine he would just be all for it. You know, weird artsy fucking indie movies.
See, I don't know. We were discussing Twixt, and I really like that movie.
Yeah,
the movie's got like a bloody. Like a 4% rating.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's not. It's a really weird, interesting movie with like Tom Waits narrating, and it's got like Ellie Fanning as a ghost, and it's got the ghost of Edgar Allan Poe in it, and it is a weird movie. Don't get me wrong, but I really liked him in it.
Yeah.
So I think he could certainly do them.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean. I think the last really cool movie I thought he was wonderful in was probably
aside from Maverick,
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, maybe.
That was a great movie. Yeah,
and that was a while ago now. I'm surprised how long ago that was, but that is a fucking brilliant movie.
Yeah,
so funny. Yeah, 2005. Christ, that's 20 years ago now.
Yeah, we're getting old.
Yeah,
but yeah, wonderful career. I highly recommend Val. I'd love to hear what you think of Val.
I've got it. I've recorded. I just need to watch it.
Worth the watch. Yeah, fantastic. That was a downer, wasn't it?
It is. But
we haven't decided what we're doing next time yet, so I can't tell you that either.
So we'll discuss.
We are just going to end on this downer. I'm sorry. We haven't got anything. But of course, we will be back next week with a movie. Insert movie.
Yep.
Which will be an awesome movie because that's all we ever do when we do our delves into the past.
Yeah.
But until then, thanks for listening. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.